So, when you have a difficulty in life, if you can resolve it with proper yeses and nos, you might learn a lot about yourself. So, I'm going to have us go through a 7 instruction bracket, and I'll write them down on the board here as we go. And I would invite you to do it. You don't have to have your eyes closed if you don't want. You can open or close them. And I'm going to have you get the idea of various things. When I run any kind of a process, I say to people, follow my instructions and take what you get. That's all you have to do. And I also have to take what you get. So, get the idea of saying yes. This is a generic process, so I'm not going to put any specific on it for today. But just get the idea of saying yes in life. And notice what comes up. Then, get the idea of not saying yes. You're not saying no, and you're not saying yes. Get the idea of not saying yes. And notice what comes up. Now, get the idea of saying yes when you really don't want to. You ever had a time when everybody said you should say yes, but you really didn't want to do that? Maybe legitimately, maybe not. So get the idea of saying yes when you really don't want to. And notice what comes up. I've recently added a couple of improvements to this. Oh yeah, there is a fourth one. Excuse me. Now, get the idea of saying yes without an ulterior motive. Sometimes I'll say yes to you because I think I can manipulate you and get what I want. Sometimes that's how we snag our mates and do a 2D. I'll tell you anything you want to hear, and then you'll fall in love with me. It won't last very long, but hey, it was a great try.
What was the wording?
Yeah, get the idea of saying yes without an ulterior motive, without a hidden agenda. That kind of gets us to look at that side of us that we're not necessarily proud of sometimes, that we manipulate people. I've never manipulated anybody in all my entire lifetimes, so I'm free of that, but it's true. No. Well, now let's go to the other side. Get the idea of saying no. Notice what comes up. I know some people, you ask them a question, the first word out of their mouth is no. It's just the way they operate. Now, get the idea of not saying no. That's the next one. You're not saying yes, and you're not saying no.
You're just not saying.
Say that again?
You're just not saying.
You're just not saying, exactly. Yeah. There is a difference between these two, in the same way there is a difference between those two. Just because I didn't say yes doesn't mean I'm going along with you. Or just because I didn't say no doesn't mean I'm not going along with you. Maybe I got a crick in my throat and I can't speak. Next, Get the idea of saying no when you really don't want to. Some people want you should say no to him. He's taking advantage of you. Well, I don't think he is. I don't want to say no to him. But group pressure is going to make me say no to him. And the final part of that is, and this is a tough one for people, this is where the social game comes in, get the idea of saying no without using an excuse. Well, I'd really like to go with you today, but you see, I have a pain in my zorch, and when I get a pain in my zorch, you know, and blah, 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 and this and that, and I should have just said, no, I don't want to go. Instead, I made an excuse about it. I call this an 8-way bracket. You can run this general. I've run a couple hours of this on people, just general. You can run it on terminals. Make a terminal list. You know how to make a list of terminals? Get people to list off people in their life. We make a list of drugs for the drug rundown. Make a list of terminals. Organize it in the order of largest read. So you could, if there's a political candidate you hate, I won't mention any names because both sides are pretty whacked right now. But get the idea of saying yes to the Democrats, or get the idea of saying yes to the Republicans. Get the idea of not saying yes to the Republicans. Get the idea of saying yes to the Democrats when you really don't want to, and so on and so on. Amazing the charge that comes off. And the point of this particular procedure is to bring up ITSA. You know what ITSA is? Who can tell me what ITSA is?
It's a way.
It's a right. It's a you're right, yes. Oh, so ITSA is an Italian term, isn't it?
Yes.
Oh, I just got that. I'm not from Brooklyn or from New Jersey. You're from New Jersey. Yeah. So you know ITSA is an Italian word. Yeah. When I run this on people, the ITSA that comes out of them is amazing. You want some tone arm action? Start running yes and no on terminals. Holy moly. It's one of the biggest tone arm grabbers I've done yet. Now, Trey Lotz gave me an idea yesterday. First off, I told Trey outside of here that he ruined me today because he got us to look at the body yesterday. And afterwards, my body realized, holy shit, I'm here in Tahoe, clean air. Oh no, I'm in shock. And then there's an ARC break. In order for there to be an ARC break, you have to first have a moment of ARC. Well, the moment of ARC is the wonderful air here. But in a couple of days, I'm going to be leaving and going back. I'm going to Vegas, actually, this week for a couple of days. Smog. Be going back to the Bay Area. Smog. Might go through Southern California. Smog. So now I'm in shock. So now I'm a little stuffed up in the nose. Maybe I should fly my ARC breaker, not smog. Well, it occurred to me that we can take Trey's idea of the body and run yes-no on this. So do this for me. Get the idea of saying yes to your body. And notice what comes up. Now get the idea of not saying yes to your body. And notice what comes up.
Ersi breaks.
I'm sorry?
Ersi breaks.
Oh, really? Okay. See how powerful this thing is? The funny thing is, if we were in session and you said that, I would just have you start talking to me. Tell me about that. And the funny thing is, a lot of the charts comes off. Well, get the idea of saying yes to your body when you don't want to say yes to your body. Maybe your body knows something you don't. You know, that old genetic entity seems to have a little bit of intelligence behind it. How many of us really listen to that intelligence? Oh, very good. You do. Wow. Brave. I'm not even sure I'm that brave yet. Okay. Well, then get the idea of saying yes to your body without an ulterior motive. Now get the idea of saying no to your body. Maybe your body's craving sugar. Maybe your body's craving fat. Get the idea of saying no to your body. It's okay to say no, in case you didn't know that. Get the idea of saying no to your body, or excuse me, get the idea of not saying no to your body. You're not saying yes, and you're not saying no. Now get the idea of saying no to your body when you really don't want to say no to your body. And lastly, get the idea of saying no to your body without using an excuse. And just notice what comes up. Would anybody care to share what has happened so far on this? Yes?
Yeah, when you were going through it right at the beginning, the first one, which was yes, was I got this I can ability to do, come up the tone scale.
Okay,
All
good.
right? That's the first one. Then the second one was... well,
Not saying yes.
Yeah, I got this unsurety feeling.
Okay.
Like I was unsure about something. Then the third one, I got this grief feeling.
Oh, when saying yes when you don't want to. Yeah, that does bring up grief, doesn't it?
Yeah, lots of grief.
Yeah.
And then on the fourth one, I got this understanding and duplication, which is kind of funny because maybe I didn't get that before.
Yeah, I'm not sure I understand what you just said there in relation to saying yes without an ulterior motive.
Without an ulterior.
Yeah.
Well, there was an understanding and duplication because if I have no ulterior motive, then I'm saying yes just to duplicate somebody or try to understand somebody.
Yeah, that's an ulterior motive, sure.
Oh, that is an ulterior.
Well, that could be. Yeah, I'm just trying to make you happy.
Ah, I see.
That's my ulterior motive. I want to make you happy. I don't necessarily want to deal with the truth.
Right, okay.
So it's propitiation, I guess, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, I can see that. And then number 5 was anger or shutdown,
Saying no, uh-huh.
right?
Yeah.
Number 6 was indecision.
Indecision, yeah, so both here can bring up indecision, okay.
Right. Number 7 was defensive.
Defensive, oh yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
And then the last one, get the idea of saying no without using an excuse.
That was kind of, well, without using an excuse.
Without using an excuse, yeah. I'm afraid to say, no, I don't want to go to the movies with you, so I say, well, my purple dog is dying and I got to stay home.
Lying and propitiation.
Yeah, lying and propitiation.
I got a couple interesting on not saying no. It's coming uncompleted cycles of communication, kind of postponed. Like, okay,
Yes.
let's not talk about this now.
That's right.
And the last one, I found very easy. Like as a clear communication just went through, like in there, like no and no explanation, no,
Yeah.
and then no from the other side.
Yeah.
Easy to accept.
Yeah.
Easy say, easy to accept.
Yeah.
Done. Move forward.
When I say yes or no, I don't have to qualify it, really. Just no or
Yeah.
yes.
No. That's it.
Yeah.
Everybody's
Yes.
happy.
I got a tremendous feeling of freedom when I just said no.
Yeah.
The very last one.
Yeah.
I said no without any excuses or anything, just
Yeah.
no, that's it. And I had an exhilaration.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've been, to add to that, I'll get to you. I have a client who's been recovering from cancer. She's a doctor, but she couldn't say no to her own doctors. So I ran her on yes, no. Boy, I feel sorry for her doctors now. Valerie, you had a comment?
Oh yeah, the same thing, similar thing for me on the final no's, like a tone 40.
Yeah, it's tone 40. No! And you feel good about it.
Very clean.
Very clean. Yeah. Try it.
Yeah, it's a freedom of accept and reject.
That's right, it's accept and reject, isn't it? Yeah. So what's that, level 3? Yeah, accept and reject. We decided to undercut it here. We still run accept and reject up here. But we decided to undercut it in the beginning. Any other questions or comments or thoughts on this? Yes, John.
You're cool.
Thank you. I won't say yeah, I already know that.
Well, you can say yes or you can say no.
I can say yes or I can say no. I'll say yes to your comment. Thank you.
So is that the EP, that they feel like they can either say yes?
You can say yes or no to anybody, yeah. Yeah. Another client I worked with a while back had a problem go down in her life, and she said, but I've already run the yes-no process. Yeah, well, we did that in April. That problem went down for you in January. Oh, yeah, you're right. So she found out that she didn't have a problem with what went down in January anymore because we ran yes-no. If she had said yes and no properly to a couple of people, that problem that she thought she had in January, that thought would have never crossed her mind. Yes?
I wanted to comment, actually, when I found out for myself, yes and no, how it's enjoyable to say both.
Yes.
When you say yes, you kind of share the space of other person,
Yes.
his universe. When you say no, no, you just confirm your own universe, you just decide
Very good. I
to
like
be
that.
there, and that's how it feels.
That's well said. Thank you. Seriously. You've confirmed your own universe. Yeah. When I can say yes and no to me and yes and no to you, and then you can do that too, we have an overlap of universes. Affinity, wanting to be in the same space. Absolutely. Yes and no raises affinity. How could it not? When I'm afraid to say yes and no, the communication goes straight out. So if I can't say yes to you or no to you when I need to, we're in big trouble. Any other questions or thoughts? Yes.
It's like a gradient exercise on confront.
It's a gradient exercise on confront, you betcha. Yeah. Very good. Anything else?